Hello everyone, Hamas28 here, and we're still trapped in the world of compact claustrophobia. So as you can see, our little main hub room looks a little bit different. I did a little bit of rearranging, automated some more stuff. Like you can see here, the tree farm is now directly attached to a furnace, which is touching a manufactory, which is touching another manufactory, which is touching a pressurizer, which is constantly making coal coke. Along with that, I built a fluid infuser so we could make some oxide fuel, as I believe the term, like LEU-235. We've been using LEU-235 fuel. Now we can make the oxide version. The difference is you get a pretty big increase in power at only a small cost in heat. So you can see LEU-235 goes from 120 to 168, but the heat only goes from 50 to 62.5, which is pretty good. Now, along with that, you can see I put the fluid infuser right next to the cubic boron machine, because if you take a look down here, this machine in here was already making oxygen, so I just had it attach it there. In fact, we could just go inside, because it looks a little funky. So you could see, oh, why aren't you attached? That's weird. Oh, probably because I moved it. Let me fix that. I realized an issue the compact machines have is that if you move them around, these guys will disconnect. The cables from refined storage, though, never seem to disconnect, though. So you're empty, so there's no diborane. But we have a good amount, 164, so I'm good to leave that. We could connect this to the refined storage network to constantly feed it boron, but I don't think we need to do that quite yet. Then I also moved our IE machines over here. Not much to do with that. We still use them from time to time, but now that we have access to miniaturization, we don't really use these guys apart from the squeezer. The raw ore, as you can see, added a bunch of the buses to all of our caches, so now we can access all of the dust through our crafting grid. I still need to make it so we pull the grit into a furnace and constantly cook it so we can get more ores in the ingot form. But this makes it a lot easier to access, so I don't have to keep going into the machine. And along with that, also made some upgrades in here. So if you take a look, I added these caches here for sulfur, bone meal, and clay. So if we come into this little compact machine. Why aren't you guys working? Did the power disconnect in here? Nope, power's connected. Oh, I bet the power is disconnected elsewhere. So what should be happening is that this manufactory is constantly making sand from this cobblestone generator that goes into these two machines. So one pulverizes it into dust, the other one pulverizes it into dust again. One is to produce clay, and the other one is to produce bone meal and sulfur. But why aren't you working? Why is there no power coming in? There should be power. Oh, that'll do it. Because there's no power connected here on the upside. That's not good. I think I can fix that though, because we have power coming in here. Oh, I did not mean to click that. I gotta fix this. Crafting grid, flux duct. Because we have power coming into this machine, so we can just route the power down. We will need another tunnel though. I don't know if I have another tunnel. No. Let's see if we can make a tunnel through miniaturization. Redstone, compact machine, hopper. Redstone. Compact machine. And a hopper. In here. Let's see, it should be like this. And then we'll just connect those two machines so it gets power. I didn't realize I unplugged it. Makes sense that I moved it. I guess on my mind it was just gonna work. So grab that, come in here. So we need to connect the upside to this one's bottom side. So we come in here. This needs to connect up, which it is. So we come in here and we do in here, down. Seems like it's flowing. And it is. Perfect. The machines are starting to run again. Now I will have to change these guys to Signalum. Luckily we have some left over. There we go. That way you can actually process the correct amount. Because you can see the redstone energy flux talk does 9,000, but the Signalum pushes 16,000, which helps alleviate any bottlenecks. Now, in today's episode, what I need to solve is we need to come back to this section over here and build the robots. Because building stuff in the miniaturization by hand is a terrible process that will give you arthritis. So we are going to need all these parts, which is a little annoying, and we're also missing some key items, I believe, like, yeah, we don't have any cactus green, for example, because we skipped that in the early quests. I don't even know where to get cactus. I know you can get a cactus, though. Cactus in here, cactus seed. Yeah, see? Sieving dirt gives you a variety of stuff. I wonder if we have cactus seeds, actually. Maybe we do. Because I know we have a bunch of other seeds, like ancient spores. Ah, there we go, cactus. So let's see, let's grab some dust. Should be in here. And we can steal some dust from one of these guys. Okay, and they are running now, perfect. Probably need to make a dedicated farm room. Because we have this one over here, but it's not really dedicated. It's the tree farm, which as you can see, has some caches to set some stuff up, but it's not really dedicated to that. But luckily cactus should just grow like so. Let me move that one. Can I make this grow faster using Phytogrow? I believe I still have the Phytogrow left over. Otherwise, we have a bit of bone meal. Will that work? I wonder if there's a way to make it grow faster. Do we have Snad? We don't have Snad. Well, I can always make another one. Another garden cloche. In fact, I can actually just come in here. You guys broken again? Yep. That's the problem with that. I need to set it up so it constantly fixes the spaxel hose. See, we probably don't need any more sugarcane, so we'll swap that here. And it's growing. Perfect. We will need more of this, though. And what about wheat? Beetroot, yeah, we'll take that out. So we'll let that go for a while so we can continue to get our cactus. But in the meantime, let's cook up one right now and work through this guy. So first we're going to need a computer case. Let's see. It'll be easier if I save all of these. So computer case, central processing unit, memory, graphics card, hard disk, a screen, EEPROM Lua BIOS, keyboard, inventory upgrade, and a disk drive. So let's see if we can craft all of this. Starting with, oh, we don't need the refined storage stuff here. Starting with the computer case. So we're going to need a microchip, a transistor, paper. Okay, cool, we have everything for that. Luckily we do have a bunch of sugarcane in here to make the paper. And it's a good thing I decided to set this up, because this could have took a pretty long time. We should have clay in here. We do. So let me turn some of that into clay blocks, because we might need a lot of these. Computer case, printed circuit, circuit board, raw circuit boards. And I think we just need to cook these, right? So that's easy enough to get quite a lot of them. PCB boards, printed circuit board. Grab that, throw those in here. Computer case, now we just need the microchip. and some iron bars to make our computer case. Now we need the CPU. This looks like a lot more parts. We need a control unit and a clock. Control unit. What are we missing? This is what's so annoying about this. It doesn't tell you what it's missing when you hover over it. Transistors, which are missing little pieces. So let's make a little bit of gold nuggets, a little bit of iron nuggets. Control unit, arithmetic logic, central processing unit, memory, the graphic kind of frog in my throat. The graphics card. This one's different though. We'll need a card base. We're missing the middle piece, which is the arithmetic logic, and we're going to need some more transistors. Arithmetic logic and graphics card. I hit the wrong one. That was the disk drive. Disk drive. Which one was it? Hard disk drive. We have a sticky piston somewhere. There we go. Oh, or a regular piston. 3 disk platters. Okay, we're gonna need a lot more iron nuggets. Throw that in there. Disk platter. Some more microchips. Did I throw it out? Okay, I think it's inside. Hard disk. A screen. EEPROM the Lua BIOS. So it looks like we can make EEPROM, and then we have to combine it with the manual. So what are we missing from the bottom thing? A redstone torch. EEPROM. And then how do we make a computer manual? We're going to need a book. Do I have any more leather? I don't believe so. So for leather, we're going to need a bunch of more paper. Then we're going to need our poop to make some sewage. Now to do this, how do I do it again? I need a source of water. Where did I leave all my water? Let's see. I know where I can steal some water. I should probably automate the creation of sewage and these other byproducts, because it seems like we'll need more of these in the future. Let's see, is that 7? Let's do a nice 9. And now I ruined it. Let me fill this up. There we go. Now to make that into leather, you just got to do this. And to make it into a book, you just got to do that. So now we can make the manual. Now we can combine EEPROM with the manual to put the Lua BIOS. Now we need a keyboard, which is going to take 4 button groups, which is going to take a lot of buttons. Luckily, we already have a lot of stone in here. Might as well just make as much as we can. So we need 4 of these button groups. The arrow keys. And the keypad. I usually go without the number pad. Now we need the inventory upgrade. So we're only missing those 3 components. We're going to need a dropper. Another hopper. A sticky piston. Wait, sticky? No, it can be regular. inventory upgrade, and the disk drive. So one more piston. And I think we're all set. There we go. Now it did say 2 pieces of memory, which I guess we missed. Unless I have 1? Huh. Guess I skipped it. Some more microchips. And we're all set. Tiny space, stuff to build and maintain it. If you want a robot, you gotta know how to build it first. It's not that difficult. Stuff all the items from the previous quest into the assembler and supply a hefty amount of RF. Then hit the assemble button and wait for a minute or 2. The robot needs power to operate. To keep it charged, put it in front of a charger. For the charger to function, it needs power and needs to be turned on. You can turn it on either using a redstone signal or hitting it with a scrunch. So now we need an electronics assembler, a charger, and the OpenOS operating system. And I guess this is the scrunch. So let's go ahead and build all of that. Put that stuff away. We made the disk drive, we made the memory. Electronics assembler. I think we're going to need a microchip, which is going to take a little bit more gold. I did not want to make that much gold, but I guess we'll need that much anyway. Microchips. And then we're missing 2 pistons and a crafting table. To make our assembler. Then the charger is going to take 2 capacitors. So we're going to need more of these circuits, which is going to need more of the cactus. You didn't grow, right? Nope. So let's go back into the farm. Perfect. For some more cactus green. And cook that up. Luckily, they are pretty cheap. I was worried I was going to need a lot of it, so it's good that I don't. 2 of these guys. 1 charger. And our operating system. Another OpenOS. And the floppy disk. It's going to take a lever and the disk. Put it all together and make OpenOS our operating system. Installation. Put the OpenOS disk into the robot, turn it on, enter install, and enter. You can now remove the OpenOS disk. Now we need to do all of this stuff in here. So we're also going to need to connect this to power. So I should have another tunnel. Where did I put the tunnel? Right here. So let's move you right here next to the power. We're going to connect it from down. So we'll put this, let's make a little bit more room here. Down flux duct, perfect. Grab, we don't need signal for this, I don't think. We can use another RF. Put our charger. And we'll put the assembler right on top. Insert a base part. Base part. What's a base part? Let me just try putting all of this in here. Let's see. Oh, there we go. The computer case goes first. Now we can fill the insides. Complexity, 8 out of 12. I think that's it. Warning, recommended component. Oh, the inventory upgrade. And I think that's everything. Assemble. Progressing very slowly. It doesn't look like it's running out of power though, so that's good. It will take 2 minutes to build. Cool. So while that's building, I guess there's not much we can do while we wait for it to build, other than fixing up this room. So what the robot will be able to do for us is that right now we have to manually place every single block. we're going to program the robot to do the work for us. That way it can run autonomously, because the production of ender pearls is terrible. This will give you carpal tunnel. So hopefully the robot can do it a lot better, although I'm not the greatest programmer, so that's where I foresee a little bit of issues, but I guess we'll have to come to that bridge when we cross it. So we'll wait for this to finish and we'll come right back. Alright, our little robot is done. His name is Claptrap. Now the charger could actually, is that gonna, yeah, that's connected. Perfect. But I think I want to move it over, because if I put him here, yeah, he'll get in the way. So let me pick you back up. And we'll move this guy. It's annoying how you can't pick up every block. Right here. And there he is. Now we do have to do this guy and turn him on. There it goes, it's working. Now we just have to listen to this guy. What did it say? Put in the disk, turn it on, enter, install, and enter. Install. Yes. They really went out of their way to make this as realistic as possible, which was not needed. See, it's mounting all of the data, installing Lua. Why aren't you charging? You're just, oh, I guess if he's working, he won't charge, which is odd. That's taking a long time. Unless the charging port is here? I'm not actually sure where the charging port is. But he's not charging like this. I guess once he's done doing this, we'll see if he actually charges. Sure is taking quite a long time to download everything though. I thought this was supposed to be lightweight. Mode managed. Alright, installation complete. Reboot now. Yes. Oh, I typed in the dot. Whoops. So let me reboot him manually. If I type reboot, will it reboot it? It does. Cool. Initializing components, initializing system. Done. I should be able to take this out now, and it works. So we need to program this guy to make our ender pearls. So if we do edit, and we'll just name it ender pearl. New file, ender pearl. It's actually a little bit hard to type because I scratched my pinky finger on my left hand. No, not the pinky, the pointer finger on my left hand. So they're cutting it. Let's see, he's still not charging though, which is a little annoying. Is the charger, let me try moving him. Right here. Why aren't you charging? What is that? I thought he was supposed to come over here and charge. Very strange. Anyways, so I need to figure out what were the commands, because you can do something like robot. Wait, he's not typing. Oh, that's because it was showing it, but since I broke him, he was actually turned off. Have a look at the code of the built-in programs for examples of how to use the APIs. Cool, so we'll do edit, ender pearl. Now, if I type in robot dot for, oh, that's a comma, dot forward, Control S, how do I leave this? This is why I hate programming. I'm not good at working within Lua because it's like working in a terminal, and I always forget how to actually navigate the terminals. Let's see, if I type exit, no, that doesn't do it, because that's just typing exit. close Control W, says on the front. So now if I type in Ender Pearl, attempt and follow nil value robot. Okay, so it's not robot. So let's see, edit Ender Pearl. So it's not robot. Is it forward.robot? I should really look up the commands. I'll see if I can pull up the list and put it on my second monitor to make this easier. So I'll be back in a second. Alright, I figured out what I was doing wrong. So, if you check the book, it shows you where the documentation is. And in the documentation, I realized, if we do edit, Ender Pearl, you have to put this line of code at the top, local robot equals require robot, and now you can type in robot.forward and it understands what that means. So if we come in here, and we type back, Control Save, W, and type Ender Pearl, and run it, he moves backwards. I also realized the reason this isn't charging is that you have to put a redstone source to actually power it. So let me grab a lever real quick. Lever. See, I'm so used to AE where if I type lever in here, it also updates this, so you can just find it. And put the lever right there. Now he's charging. So the way it has to work, right, is you can use the robot to pull from an inventory. That's what these are. So I'm going to want to store the inventory right here. So we'll probably use caches because that'll be easiest. That way he can just go to it and then pull specifically what's out. And since we're building Ender Pearls, all he has to do is, what I'm envisioning is, he's right here. He's going to walk forward 1, turn, grab obsidian, move left, grab redstone blocks, move left again, grab the redstone, move right here, and I'm thinking I want him to place behind himself. So I'm thinking, so then once he's here, he'll go 1, 2, place a block, 2, place a block, go again forward, place this block here, move left into this position. Let me enhance this to make it easier. So he'll go place, 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 turn around, place, 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 turn around, place, place, place. Then he'll go up 1, place, 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 swap to the redstone block, obsidian, and then continue that way. And then he just has to fly up, drop the redstone, and that should work. There's a little bit of error handling I guess I can add in as well, just in case that when he goes to pull obsidian, if he doesn't pull enough, he shouldn't continue the program. But I'm not actually sure how to program that in Lua. So I'll just have to figure that out. And to not waste people's time with having you watch me, program and debug a robot, we're just going to skip over that and you can see the final result. And then if it works really well, I'll just post the code in the description so that you can use it as well. All right. It only took me like 45 minutes, but I was able to program Claptrap here to create our Ender Pearls. So there are a couple caveats. There's no error handling for if we run out of material. So I just have to make sure we're stocked up on a lot of obsidian, which we can get from, I think we can pull it, right? Yeah, we could just pull it out of here. Did I show you guys where I'm making it? If we go in here, here it is. We're making obsidian from this machine here. So it's actually very simple. As you can see, it's just the crucible with a block of thorium under it to power it, a cobblestone generator, and it gets pushed into the stone barrel, and then it gets outputted into the cache. So it's not the fastest. I'm working on getting a block of americium. That way it'll produce lava extremely fast, but it should be good enough for what we need right now. We're at almost 5,000, so that's pretty good. So now if we come back in here, throw this in, throw that in. And now I'm gonna have to break this by hand because I'm a silly guy. So I'll be back in like, how long does it take? Like 50 seconds? Alright, it's broken. Now I could show you the program in action. So we'll just save that. And if we type in ender pearl, there he goes. And then he flies up, throws the redstone, and then he flies back down. So caveats, there's no error handling for the resources, so if he ever runs out, he will attempt to just keep doing it. It will only run one time, so I think I need to make a supporting program that essentially just takes in a number. Like, I want 5 ender pearls, so all it's going to do is... What I think I would need to do is probably, it'd be edit run, like this. And what run would do is, you would tell it what program to do. So you would tell it to, so you would need to take in like 2 arguments, like this. Actually, I don't even know how to take in arguments, but essentially you would tell it program to run number of times. And then you would just tell it to sleep. So essentially you would just put in, okay, I want to run ender pearl. I want it to run 50 times. And then in between, so then as it finishes, it comes back over here, it sleeps for like 3 seconds, and then does it again. But I'm not actually sure how I would do that in Lua. And I was watching some people, like how they did it, and a lot of people, all they did was just make it, the entire program just run in a loop that would never break, which kind of works, but it runs into the issue of, well, then now you also have to put in the error handling because it's just going to attempt to keep running forever, and it's just going to break, which would get a little bit annoying. So actually, I want to see if I can figure this out. So I'm going to pause again, see if I can build this program real quick. It shouldn't be that difficult to do, because it's essentially just input 2 numbers, loop it for the number of times, sleep in between. So I think that should be easy enough. I just need to figure out how to take in arguments in Lua. Well, I could not for the life of me figure out how to program what I wanted to do. I just can't figure out how to write a program that takes in 2 arguments and then functions right. I keep trying to find stuff online to help, but it's all just like Lua documentation, so I'm just gonna have to figure that out on my own time. I'll probably want to make some other programs as well for the other stuff we make pretty often, but for the most part, the only thing we really need is going to be, I believe, these ones, right? Or is it the giant ones? Maximum, we'll need 6 giant. 6 giant takes 6 glitch large machines, and then the large machines. How did I make the large machine before then? What? Oh, like that. Giant. Oh, that's how we make the large, and then this is how we make the giant. To make the large, you just have to use that thing, because we don't have access to the 5x5 yet, because that would have been too easy. Gotcha. So it's not too bad. 3x3. Yeah, I might make a program just to make the normal compact machines, because this one is exactly the same as the... Because it's exactly the same shape as the ender pearl, all you have to do is actually, you could just make it, because it needs 26, 1, and 1, so you could just set it up so this is the ender pearl, this is the gold block, and then this is the other things. That way I could just make them like that pretty easily. And all I'd have to do is swap out what goes in here. Pretty good. But for now, I can't figure out how to make this. I could do the brute force method of just setting a for loop in there so it runs forever, which technically works. I'm just worried it'll break at some point, and then I have to come in here and constantly keep this refilled. But we do have so much redstone and obsidian that it shouldn't be too bad, but I have other stuff to get going. And we could work on some other stuff while we wait. I do want to get up to this stuff here, so we might as well do that. Although we do need the bigger space. Fit within a 9x9x9. So where did I leave that? It's in here, right? Yes, and we're not using anything for it. So this is going to be where we build the fusion reactor. So let me name that fusion reactor. And let's see what it's going to take. So we need 1 fusion core and 64 electromagnets. 1 fusion core and 64 electromagnets. Now, luckily, now that we have the refined storage system, it should be a lot easier to craft everything. So let's take a look. 1 fusion core. We have none of the components. Cool. 1 machine chassis. 2 chemical reactors, which is going to take 2 more machine chassis. Magnesium diboride. Elite plating. I didn't realize that's different. Dew plating. Oh, we can almost craft that. Let's see. Dew plating, advanced plating, basic plating. We're gonna need some more graphite dust. I thought we had a bunch of graphite. I think we could steal it from here. Yeah, graphite dust. We can actually just steal it from this manufactory. Let's make it our coal coke. And let's make, yeah, we'll make a stack. That should be enough. Do plating, advanced plating. And how much of that we're going to need? We need 4 elite plating. They only take 1, so we only need 4 of these. Do advanced. 1, 2, 3, 4. Elite plating, do plating. 1, 2, 3, 4. Elite plating, boron and crystal binder. Crushed rhodochrosite, sulfate, magnesium dust, pulverized obsidian. So we have some of this, but we definitely don't have crushed rhodochrosite and calcium sulfate. Crushed rhodochrosite comes from a rhodochrosite crystal. That comes from itself. Oh, this comes from granite. Okay, so it's actually not too bad. I thought it was going to be like another supply chain we have to do. So that comes from granite. Granite. I don't know if you actually have a lot of it though. Gravel. Slag. 1 granite. Some more granite. Diorite. We might need more of this stuff as well. Stone. And no andesite. Interesting. So let's make these. And we're going to have to throw these into the rock crusher. Because we used andesite before. Luckily this will go very fast. And it also makes extra sulfur, which is cool. Hopefully we can use that. Carbonite, fluorite, zirconium. Elite plating, crystal binder. What are we missing? We're missing the top right one. Calcium sulfate solution. Fluorite, water, and sulfuric acid. Fluorite water is crushed fluorite and water, which we get from crushing diorite. So we're going to have to build another supply chain, which is going to be a little annoying. And then there's no easy way to get a lot of diorite, right? The igneous extruder can make it. Otherwise, nether quartz and cobblestone makes it. So actually, we should be able to make a stack right here. Let's see how much. Yeah, we have 4,000 nether quartz. Go ahead and process that. But then to make the crystal binder, we have magnesium dust, we have obsidian, we have crushed rhodochrosite. So for the calcium sulfate, we need calcium sulfate, which takes calcium sulfite. Okay, that doesn't help. Which will take sulfuric acid and fluorite water. And sulfuric acid as water and sulfur trioxide. that comes from ethylene and sulfuric acid, sulfur dioxide and oxygen, molten sulfur and oxygen gas, sulfur. Interesting. So we're going to have to set up a supply chain for this. And then can I make some more... What was the other one? Crystal binder, rhodocite, rock crusher, granite, diorite and granite. Oh, diorite and nether quartz makes granite. So if we take our cobblestone, combine it with nether quartz, we can make a stack of diorite. Then if you take your diorite and also add nether quartz, you get a stack of granite. So that should give us enough. And then this makes sulfur, which we need for the sulfuric acid. So at least it helps itself. Let's see, how are we doing on power? Pretty good. So I did say I was working on getting a I forgot what it's called. At nuclear craft californium. I'm working on getting californium. And you might be wondering, well, how are you working on it? Well, let me show you. So if we come up in here, because you noticed I moved it up more. Let's see, can I reach it from here? I had some other blocks here when I wasn't recording. Come in here, so you can see I've upgraded our fission reactor setup to add another 4 fission reactors. The main one is still here. Do you even have fuel in yourself? Yes. I made sure to make a ton of fuel because it burns out pretty quick. But this one only runs on LEU-235. This one runs on LEU-235 oxide, which will then break down into LEU-233 oxide, which will then break down into... It breaks down into this one, into Hep-241 oxide, which then breaks down into HEC-M-247 oxide. And then with HEC-M-247 oxide, this one can be broken down into a tiny clump of californium and berkelium. And then I believe that's the final stage, because to make the californium block, you need californium-252, which comes from tiny clumps, which you get from a block of depleted one of these. So the fuel you make from this one being depleted is what it's going to take. And these ones were optimized for essentially burning through fuel as quickly as possible. I think you can actually check it in here. LEU-235. Yeah, so you can see this tiny reactor generates 2,352 RF per tick for 4 minutes. Because it has a lot of cells. It burns through energy, it burns through the fuel extremely fast, but we did that on purpose so we can get the depleted oxide. I still need to run power up here to these fuel reprocessors. And then I want to add some auto crafters so that the fuel, after it's reprocessed, automatically is crafted into the next fuel and goes up through the chain until we get to californium. But that's something I was still working on. I need to make another reactor that will... Oh, clicked the wrong way. I want to make another reactor to replace... Come out of here. To replace this one. It's pretty good. It generates 7,040, but once we have the californium stuff, we can probably generate double that in the same space. It's just that good of a fuel. So, what was I working on? Cubic boron. Oh, right. Making the fusion core. So we need calcium sulfate, which comes from a crystallizer. So we're going to need a crystallizer to make this. We're going to work from the back. So crystallizer is going to take some copper solenoids and some more advanced plating and a cauldron. So now we need calcium sulfate solution, which is going to take sulfuric acid and fluorite water. So sulfuric acid is sulfur trioxide and water in a chemical reactor. So we're going to need a chemical reactor. Chemical reactor. Electric motor. We're out of iron? Are you serious? This is why it's important to actually get a bunch of ingots in the system. Oh, that's steel. Oh, but the head is iron. Okay, electronic motor. 4 more advanced plating. A servo mechanism to make the chemical reactor. Calcium sulfate, chemical reactor. Hydrofluoric. Sulfuric acid. So this is going to take water and sulfur trioxide. And sulfur trioxide can be made in multiple ways. But I believe the easiest is going to be this one. Oxygen and sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide is a chemical reactor with molten sulfur and oxygen gas. So we can get oxygen gas from an electrolyzer, which we already have. And to make the molten sulfur, we just need a melter with sulfur in it. So let's make another melter. Melter. What are we missing? That stuff. We're going to need some more tough alloy. Lithium and ferroboron. Lithium, ferroboron, in our alloy furnace. And another servo mechanism. Let's make the melter. So we're going to want to build this in this room here. Why is there still water in there? See, the water is so wonky. When it unloads, there's no reason it should still be in here. There we go. I said there I go, but it didn't even fix it. See, I was telling you, I'm not crazy. For some reason, when you leave Compact Machine Worlds, they seem to break in odd ways. So the reason we're going to build it in here, how are you doing? Almost 100 buckets of deuterium, is that we have this electrolyzer that is overproducing oxygen gas. Because I'm even exporting it through the front, right? Yes. That's overproducing oxygen gas. So, crystal sulfate, calcium, chemical reactor, sulfuric acid, water, sulfur trioxide, oxygen, sulfur dioxide, oxygen chemical reactor. So, we just need to place our melter, where we can get power. So we can pull power over here. So we'll put the melter right here. We'll put sulfur in here. Let me grab some sulfur to get the chain going. Also going to need some more of our cables. Fluid duct. I'm all out. Flux duct. Gonna need more of these. Signalum flux ducts. Redstone energy. Where's it pulling these flux? Oh, I had them right there. That's why. So we need to power this guy. This is gonna melt down sulfur. So this melts down the sulfur into chemical reactor, sulfuric acid, chemical reactor, sulfur trioxide, chemical reactor, sulfur dioxide, chemical reactor. So molten sulfur and oxygen gas are going to mix in the chemical reactor. So chemical reactor. We'll put you right here. Then I'm going to need some more fluid ducts to put oxygen in here. Now this is super hot, so we're going to need our leadstone hardened fluid duct. Oh, I definitely don't want that connected, that's for sure. So now if I grab a servo right here, molten sulfur, we're going to have this export at the top. We're going to have to clear this tank. There go molten sulfur and oxygen, and I'm mixing in here. Molten beryllium, that's going to go too long looking through there. Chemical reactor, sulfuric acid, sulfuric trioxide, sulfur dioxide. Okay, so now the molten sulfur and the oxygen are mixing to make sulfur dioxide. And then we're going to take that sulfur dioxide and mix it with more oxygen to make sulfur trioxide. So I'm going to need another chemical reactor. Chemical reactor. 1, 2, 3. Grab that. 3, 4. Electric motor. Servo mechanism. Chemical reactor. So that's going to go in here. Sulfur dioxide, so we need our, not the hardened one, we could do a regular. So now we have sulfur dioxide coming in here. Let's see. That's full, almost full. So now take this fluid duct, come in here. Let's grab some more fluid ducts. Fluid duct. Probably grab some more. Connect that here. Disconnect that. So now oxygen gas and sulfur are going to mix in here to make our sulfur trioxide. And then we need to mix the sulfur trioxide in another chemical reactor with water. Chemical reactor, once again. There's so many, you need to make so many chemical reactors for nuclear craft. Servo mechanism, electric motor, more of this advanced plating, chemical reactor. Now we're also going to need an infinite water source. Infinite. So now this chemical reactor is going to go right over here. Chemical reactor is there, right over here. Because we need the sulfur trioxide to come out of here. Water source can go on the top. Now we need to power it. I think I have, yeah, another signalum. We could use the cheaper ones. It's not the best, but it'll work for now. So now sulfur trioxide and water is going to mix. Into sulfuric acid. So now we need fluorite water, which is just crushed fluorite and water, and fluorite comes from diorite. Okay, so that's a lot easier. So we just crushed diorite for fluorite, and then we mix the fluorite in a fluid enricher to make the fluorite water. So we need a fluid enricher. Fluid enricher. Electric motor. Hopper. 4 more advanced plating. Fluid enricher. Chemical brewery. So we need to mix sulfuric acid with this. So we'll put you here. And we'll run the power through the back. And this only takes water and fluorite. Make another infinite water source. Infinite water. Put you on the top as well. So that's going to fill with water. You put in your crushed fluorite. So now that's working. Then we combine these. Lead plating, calcium sulfate solution in another chemical reactor, and that will produce hydrofluoric acid and calcium sulfate solution. So this should be the final chemical reactor. Electric motor, servo mechanism, machine casing, 4 more advanced plating, chemical reactor, come in here, chemical reactor goes in the middle. Now we take our fluid ducts. Now we need to output this. Oh, we're out of servos. Servo. Output U. Fluorite water goes in here. Now this only has one output, so take the sulfuric acid, output U. And now that's mixing. And now that's going to make our calcium sulfate solution, which has to go in the crystallizer right here. Definitely going to need to add a lot of energy upgrades. Now, if we take this, we're going to have U not output out the top. Fluid duct here. You have power, right? Yes. So now, once the fluorite water and the sulfuric acid finishes mixing, we're going to get our 2 products, and the one we want should get ejected out the top. And the one we want is the calcium sulfate solution, which will then process into calcium sulfate. Let's see if this works. Calcium sulfate goes in. Now it's processing, extremely so. Calcium sulfate takes 80 seconds, so we're definitely going to need a bunch of upgrades in here, and we'll have our calcium sulfate. So we do get 2 crystal binder out of it, so we don't need too much, but that is definitely quite a lot of work just to get a little bit of stuff. This is full of oxygen gas as well. Molten sulfur, oxygen gas. Yeah, we make so much oxygen gas off of a single electrolyzer. So it's pretty useful that I can just use a single electrolyzer to power pretty much everything. And then we only have to provide crushed fluorite in here to keep the reaction going, which is pretty good. So let's go ahead and make those speed upgrades, because that's going to go way too slow for my liking. Speed upgrades. 2. We can definitely make more than 2, but I'm going to need a lot more iron. Put that in there. How much iron do we have? Okay, let's make another. We have 53 of them. There we go. 55. Now let's make the energy upgrades. Energy upgrade. That's going to take gold, which we're out of for some reason. There we go. Definitely need to set these up to auto upgrade. Oh, while we wait for the gold to finish, I don't think I ever showed you guys that I did set up the, if you come in here, yeah, here it is. I set up the pickaxe automation. Because I remember people saying, oh, make sure you remember. I don't have to remember anymore. So, using a garden cloche with a bonsai tree sapling to make sticks, that goes into an auto crafter where it takes the twigs, turns them into sticks, sends them into the auto crafter on the left to make stone picks, and sends them to the auto crafter on the bottom to make iron picks. And this redstone furnace over here pulls iron from this setup to make the iron ingots to make the picks. So that's why this is able to now run indefinitely without any additional input. So now that I finished talking, the gold ingots are finished. Make some weighted pressure plates. Make our energy upgrades. That's going to take some more crushed quartz, so I'll make some more of that. And let's shove these into the crystallizer. Let's see, it takes 10, so if I do 55, that's going to drain the power like instantly. Yep. That's a bit better. Times 14 takes 178. So once I fill this with energy upgrades, it should be pretty good. So now we can take out the calcium sulfates. Come back in here. 4 calcium sulfate. Mix that together. Makes 8 crystal binder. Which is enough for 2 elite platings. But then we're almost there. We just need another machine chassis. Oh, I used the chemical reactors. Forgot about that. 2 mechanical chassis, 2 electric motors. Copper solenoids. I might as well just make a bunch. 2 servo mechanisms. Advanced plating. Regular plating. What is that? Advanced plating, tough alloy. We used all the tough alloy again. Okay, definitely need to make more of that. Oh, I know what it is. It's because it takes 4, so even though I think I have a lot, we burn through it extremely fast. 3, 4. Let's make 1. One more motor to make the second chemical reactor. Now we just need 2 more elite plating. So if we come back in here, 2 more calcium sulfates. I need to set this to dump the hydrofluoric acid. And where's the current bottleneck? All these chemical reactors are the bottleneck. They're all really slow, including the melter. So I'm just going to have to let that run for a while. But now that with 2 more calcium sulfates, it produces another 4 crystal binder, which I think is enough for 1 more plating. So I'll just have to wait for another 2 from here. So we'll just have to speed this up. Let's see, because yeah, this is full here, so the chemical reactor needs some speed upgrades and energy upgrades as well. Quartz, make those energy upgrades. And now we're out of the crushed obsidian, because of course we are. Why does everything take 4 of 4? At least making the crushed obsidian is really easy, because you get a stack of obsidian makes 4 stacks of pulverized obsidian. Okay, grab that. Some more energy upgrades. Come in here, come in here. Energy, speed upgrades. There we go, that's going a lot faster. Along with this one. 2 more calcium sulfate. And now we can finally put it all together. 4 crystal binder, elite plating, and make the fusion core. A star in a box. This is the central part of a multi-block fusion reactor that produces large amounts of energy from the heat generated by a nuclear fusion reactor. The core needs to have a ring of fusion electromagnets around it symmetrically, connected by 4 sets of fusion connectors on all 4 sides. The ring, which is actually a square, needs to be hollow and does not require electromagnets to be diagonal to the hollow section. Active fluid coolers can be used here instead. Make sure that the far corners are fully squared off too. So that's done. And now we have to do the hard part of making 64 electromagnets. Luckily, it looks like that only takes copper solenoids and advanced plating. So we'll just need a bunch of graphite. Cool. Bunch of graphite from here. We already have a ton of lead. And we'll need a ton of copper as well. So that's much more doable. But we do need, it's at 64, right? 64. So if we need 64 times 4, we need 256 copper solenoids. And that's going to take a bunch of iron. We have the resources, it's just going to take a long time to process everything, which is annoying. Advanced plating, tough alloy, comes from ferroboron, which is steel and boron, which is annoying because I don't have a ton of steel. So I need to make more of that. Let's make some more steel and boron. At least this doubles it, but we're going to need quite a lot of resources to make everything. And this episode has already gone on quite long enough because we accomplished a lot. We built our robot and we made the fusion reactor, the fusion core. So next episode, we're going to put it all together and build the fusion reactor to generate massive amounts of power. What we need this power for? Not quite sure yet. Not quite sure. I'm guessing it's going to be needed for this machine, but I don't know why that requires so much power. And then we'll almost be finished with this chapter. We have to go in through here, but I'm going to take some time to figure out how to automate the robot to actually do what I want, how I want it. And that should help with making the even bigger room. And this one fits, yeah, in a 9x9, which is what we have, right? Oh, wait, this is even bigger. We don't even need to use the compact machine. We could use a 9x9. Should I, though? Should I? Maybe. But anyways, I'm your host, Hamas28, and I'll see you guys next time.